Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. For those new to the channel, my name is Sean, also known as Film Guru. And I started this channel having my same variety of films and film content, so thanks for joining me today. Today I'm reviewing Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. This was once again written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie and stars Tom Cruise, Rebecca Ferguson, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg and Hayley Atwell. This film finds Ethan Hunt, played by Tom Cruise, and his team on their most difficult mission yet. Ethan's past comes back to haunt him, and the team is up against an ultimate foe that will test them to their limits. It's been a long wait for this film to come out, but it's finally here, and it is absolutely fantastic. And what a spectacle of a film it truly is. It's just wonderfully done. There's a lot to like here. I think Christopher McQuarrie is a fantastic director and writer, and I think he's crafted a really great film here. After how big Fallout was, I didn't quite know what they were going to do or wondered where they were going to go with it. And why this film isn't as big, yes, it does have big set pieces and action sequences that are very similar to what they created in Fallout. It's just not as big. Instead of going bigger, they sort of shifted and went in a different direction, but in a really great direction. The film kind of feels like it's returning to the beginning in a way. You know, we're reintroduced to these characters and there's stuff from Ethan's past that arises, and we get to see more of the IMF, the old IMF that we saw in the first film, especially with the return of Eugene Kittredge. It sort of is harking back to something from the past, and I like that, and that's kind of what the film feels like a lot of way. It's sort of returning to the past, from the previous films coming into it as well. But on my second viewing, which is what this video is based upon, I really got it, I really understood it. There was something really wonderful happening in the film, and I could see what Christopher McQuarrie was doing, and I liked a lot of the choices that were made. There are certain choices that were made that had to happen, but I don't know if I loved, but on the second viewing I sort of saw what they were going for, and it made much more sense to me. It's a really difficult mission for them in a lot of ways, and what they go up against, this particular villain, so to speak, is just wonderful. I think it's keeping up with the times, it's evolving the sort of things that these characters would come up against. It's moving above and beyond stuff like the Bourne movies or Bond into something that's realistic and present and relevant, and I love that. I thought that was really, really great and a good choice to do. Look, the acting's all great. All the cast from 5 and 6 has returned, and they're all really great. I like what they do with Elsa when we first meet her again and reintroduce. It's really cool. This whole sequence, that's really great, and we see her important part in it, and we sort of see what Ethan means to her in a way, and I kind of like that. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to give too much more away. You know, Simon Pegg's great again as Benji, and Ving Rhames, and they're all really great. And Kittredge, that character's a pain in the ass, but really well played by the actor. This has the introduction of Hayley Atwell, so she's a new character to the film. I won't give away what part she plays in the movie, but it's an important part. And it's kind of interesting of what they're doing with it. She's not quite what she seems, and her motives aren't clear, and she goes, throughout the film we learn why she's doing what she's doing. And we see the choices that she makes through the film and why she makes them. I think she works really well with Cruise and the other actors. I think they really all do really great jobs. There's some really great, she's in some really great action sequences where she gets to drive a car, and there's a whole train sequence at the end of the movie is quite eye-opening. And she's really up for the challenge in a lot of ways. And I know she's done some Marvel films and stuff like that, and the TV show, but this just felt like her first foray in a way into action, and what better way to be introduced to an action film or be involved in an action movie than with Tom Cruise, one of the great action men of today. Spielberg talked about Tom Cruise and talked about when Top Gun Maverick came out that Cruise single-handedly saved the blockbuster, or saved cinema, I think it was, or something like that. And I think it's very true, and especially with this film and the previous film, I think he really is the last of the, you know, true movie stars who has clout and power, who can make the things he wants to make and develop things he wants to be in. And they allow him to do, and producers allow him to do that as well, because he delivers. He delivers every time with the movies he makes. And I really think the Mission Impossible films, especially 3, really are that sort of grand blockbuster that we don't see much anymore. outside of the Marvel films. You know, this is that, and that's what's quite extraordinary about this. And the team and the great team that Tom Cruise and Kristen McQuarrie make and can really bond and create some really wonderful films is just absolutely fantastic to see on screen, and to see them collaborating in the way they do. Once again, Tom Cruise does some extraordinary stunts, some driving stunts. And obviously, you've seen that piece where he flies off the edge of a cliff. It's quite extraordinary. It's just a huge and entertaining movie that's brilliantly done. And once again, Kristen McQuarrie keeps up in the ante with the action sequences. There is a sequence on the train that feels a lot like something out of Uncharted 2, but it still is really, really well done and captivating, and it keeps you hooked from the beginning to end. It's extraordinarily entertaining and captivating, and I was just drawn to it, and I couldn't help but be blown away by what he was able to accomplish with this film. This is part one, so there is a part two coming out next year. I know there is a whole thing of the SAG, the writers and actors protests going on, so I don't know if that'll push back this film because I haven't completely finished it. So hopefully we'll get it next year at the same time, but we'll see what happens. But I look forward to getting the second part and to seeing this as a full film and a completed film. There's stuff in this movie where they veer away from stuff they've done before, which I really liked. And I felt it's refreshing and interesting, and trying to take this, like I said, this whole film and franchise in a new direction. I think they really accomplished that. There's a lot more at stake. We see a lot more emotion here, and the impact of certain sequences and certain things that happen to the characters and the choices that they made. The whole film is really made up about characters making choices and dealing with the past regrets that they have or things that have happened to them. I highly recommend this if you haven't seen it, especially if you're a Mission Impossible fan. If you like Tom Cruise, it's worth checking out because it's fantastic. Final thoughts. In the end, it's really about characters returning to their past, dealing with difficulties and struggles that they've gone through, and trying to move forward, trying to make sense of what's going on, and to persevere no matter what. And they're tested and pushed and pulled all the way through the movie, but they still rise to the occasion. And sometimes that's like us as human beings. We've got to rise to the occasion even if we don't think we can or are capable of doing so. I'm going to give Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning 4.5 out of 5. I thought this film was fantastic, definitely worth checking out, and I really look forward to part 2. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit subscribe down the bottom and follow my letterbox and Facebook. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.